Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Revolution. This is an episode of Marvel Future Revolution. Never mind the Marvel Future fight that's up on the right screen. I bring that up for a reason because we kind of got some information today from some data mines, some leaks. I can tell you Netmarble hates these things, but they're part of every game. They're just part of the culture. We basically got leaks for two characters or possible data mines for Falcon and Scarlet Witch. Those are possible characters that are going to be shortly after global launch or at global launch. We don't know when those characters coming, but the fact that they were mined says a good thing because I don't think you really see these character models inside the story mode that we've played thus far. So it kind of, leads us to believe that these are possible characters. Does to make sense, so that way we round off at about like maybe 10 characters inside the game. And there's a lot of speculation. I've seen some videos from like Halfsin and DM who have done some speculations on the characters and what their possible skill sets and abilities could be, and I really don't feel like you need to speculate that goddamn much. No offense to those guys, but literally fucking boot up Marvel Future Fight and take a look at the characters and models inside there. Boot up freaking, Marvel Strike Force. Boot up Marvel Contest of Champions. But more than likely anything, boot up Marvel Future Fight. And you will probably get to see what some of these characters are. So here goes data model for Falcon. I'm bringing him up on screen here. This was the character model that was mined for Falcon inside the game. It's a pretty decent looking character model. I think as an initial base suit, clearly is good. Falcon just recently got a upgrade inside Marvel Future Fight. Not too long ago. It was a long time coming that players had been expecting it to come, and he actually got it. And inside the game, we basically got Captain America Falcon, which is pretty damn cool if you ask me. It's a pretty cool suit, and he actually has his wings that come out, and it's a pretty cool looking model. So could we see something like this, Captain America Falcon? Yeah. If you look down inside his uniforms, he has quite a few uniforms over the course of his character's history inside here. So for instance, I think the initial release one was, which one was it? I think it was the Civil War one. No, might not have been the Civil War one, but we basically have, let's take a look at some of the uniforms. The one that we have on screen here most likely resembles the Marvel Legacy uniform, obviously with some tweaks to it, right? But that's essentially the one that we're looking at to the left here inside the Datamined model, right? Is the Marvel Legacy Falcon. Then we had, like the Winter Soldier. We had the all new Captain America, which was an old version of it. And it was kind of cool that they went back and said, while recognizing that Falcon did bear the ensemble, he got this one as part of his uniform model for the Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus show, which was actually pretty cool and amazing to me. I liked it. He had some pretty cool skills as well inside the game. So let's take a look at some of his skills, because he had skill changes that basically happened for his character overall, and they were actually some pretty cool skills. So this is give you an idea of the possibility of what you might see inside Marvel Future Revolution. I mean, realistically, it's kind of easy to look at these. So let's look at one skill here, so you can kind of see he's doing some physical damage attacks there, where he's still using his wings in order to attack. It's pretty cool. We see him actually engage and use the shield to start off this attack, and then he crashes down with some physical damage inside there. His third attack, we see him once again use the shield. He summons in the actual Falcon Birdie, comes in and does some little bit damage across the screen. Then we see him once again using the shield, using his wings, and doing some kind of wind attacks. He has an air dive assault attack that comes in here that he uses with the shield. Pretty damn cool, right? I like it a lot. It looks awesome, and that's just a tier 5 skill. And we did get a T3 version of Falcon's character. Let's see what that looks like. You can see he just basically flies around. and does a bit of damage. So now keep in mind that inside the comic books, Falcon does use a gun. We don't see it on the character model here to the left, so we don't know that he'll be carrying a gun. We don't even know that he'll be carrying a shield, so you probably could remove some of those things. I don't think they're necessarily want to have, you know, Falcon carrying around Captain America's shield when the game is just initially released. So I don't particularly see that being the direction that they go. It just wouldn't make sense to have him using the shield. It'd be like them releasing Bucky 3 months later and he's got the shield as well. You kind of take away from Captain America a little bit, and that, unless you are able to distinguish quite differently how those characters might be using the shield, which, you know, they can do. Captain America cannot fucking fly, and that kind of sucks inside, you know, inside the PvP mode for the game. But this kind of gives you an idea of what you might see from Falcon actually joining in the game. It's not an actually bad idea, and you know, Falcon's actually a pretty decent character inside Marvel Future Fight. And when I say pretty decent, I mean that he's damn near, like, if you looked at most people's tier list, he's probably god level in terms of what his skills are. So you can see what some of the names are here. So if you happen to see any of these inside Marvel Future Revolution when he does get released, just remember that I told you, go take a look at Marvel Future Fight the same way I showed you Doctor Strange and showed you a lot of his skills literally are just pulled from, you know, like the Marvel Future Fight stuff. So it's not too hard to believe and too far off to go, hey, these could possibly appear inside the game. I'd actually be pretty happy to see Falcon inside the game. He's not one of my favorite characters, but I definitely enjoyed Anthony Mackie's portrayal of him inside the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I love Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Shaw's Tango and Hooch kind of, you know, playing off each other. I thought it was really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in the game nonetheless, and having more characters to play. And bad thing, especially if it creates a different play experience. Not a bad thing at all. Next, we kind of got Scarlet Witch. So I know people will absolutely clamor for her, and it's one of those things that if we did get Scarlet Witch, I think people would be absolutely balls nuts. Now, here goes the reason why I think we might actually get a Scarlet Witch in the game sooner rather than later. We already have Spider-Man in the game, right? So Spider-Man's already there, and we know Spider-Man No Way Home's coming out at the end of the year. So it's really easy to, you know, already just give him a, you know, add that uniform from Spider-Man No Way Home into the game to monetize on that inside the cash shop. That's going to be easy. But we know down the road right now is that we've got Doctor Strange, the multiverse of madness, and we just came off of Scarlet Witch, her own television show at Disney Plus, which was also amazing as hell, right? And if you looked at the character model, it would kind of make sense that they actually give this character a go inside the game, because you're probably going to be able to monopolize and monetize her just as much as you could. Now, Scarlet Witch has had a number of uniforms, and if you follow Beast Mode Gaming, he loves this chick. And she is bae. And to be honest with you, I love Elizabeth Olsen. I think she was an awesome casting choice by Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige and them, to put into the role, because she just really sells the role so well in terms of what, you know, is coming. I'm interested to see where they go with her story inside the multiverse of madness, specifically because there's some things that happen, and there's some things relevant to Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch that are kind of playing out in the MCU. And I don't want to spoil too much, but if you have watched the series, you'll know that at the end of Scarlet Witch's television show, Scarlet Witch had obtained the Darkhold. And if you know anything about the magic universe inside Marvel Comics, the Darkhold book is basically like, I wouldn't call it the Book of the Dead, but it's the Book of the Dark. It basically holds all of the spells that one could possibly learn that are negative, right? So think about that. It's pretty much all the negativity that you could possibly muster. And then you have, God damn it, what the hell is the name of the book? Doctor Strange basically has the polar opposite book, and I don't know why the Book of Ashanti is coming to my name. I don't believe that's the name of the book, but inside the Marvel Comics, he has the other book, and basically that book has all of the magic for spells of light, you know, the spells of good. And those books cannot be destroyed at all. So they basically exist, you know what I mean? So like you basically have to have them, and they always balance each other out. And what I mean by that is if you have a spell that is taken away or used in one book, the other book has to have an opposite from it. They're basically a universal balancing nexus. Scarlet Witch got revealed to be a nexus level being, and we kind of seen some, you know, theories about Scarlet Witch and Kang basically recognizing that Scarlet Witch is a nexus level being. So, you know, kind of cool idea of Scarlet Witch standing there. We've got a number of uniforms for her inside Marvel Future Fight. So like this was the most recent one from her WandaVision show. I love this one. It's when they gave her that show at the last like 5 minutes of the episode, I thought it was just absolutely amazing. I thought Brie goddamn, now I forgot her goddamn name. I'm about to call her Brie Larson. That's not her name. Elizabeth Olsen. I thought she looked amazing in the uniform, especially wearing the crown, which is something that's kind of always been there for Scarlet Witch, which was just bugging the hell out of me inside the Marvel's Infinity War and other movies that she appeared in, because the crown is just so Scarlet Witch, that hex crown basically. Looking at the uniform that she has to the left, inside the Datamined, this is probably the closest one that you could probably look at. It's the all new, all different version of Scarlet Witch, and from head to toe you can tell that the chest piece, the corset, is basically, you know, is basically the same, and then there's some changes within, you know, obviously the designs of the pant leggings and somewhat the boots, but overall we kind of see that this is typically the look that's there. It's been a little bit changed. She has no cape on inside that one. Who knows, she could end up with a cape, but they have a host of looks that they could adopt from inside of Marvel Future Fight to bring over and utilize as assets inside Marvel Future Revolution, especially this WandaVision one. I think it would be cool to capitalize on that, and obviously they'll be able to monetize and capitalize on Wanda showing up in the multiverse of madness with a new suit. So I see Wanda coming to the game sooner rather than later. 100%. Now I think I was watching Halfson comment on these uniforms, and he was talking about whether this is going to be a tune, whether Marvel Future Revolution would be like Marvel Future Fight and be a tune collector. And he's like, there's rumors that it's not. I don't see that as a possibility for it not to be a tune collector. If you look at any of the Marvel games that have ever come out, from Gazillions, Marvel Heroes Omega, which I absolutely love, to Marvel Puzzle Quest, to Marvel any fucking thing. If you look at any Marvel game in general, there has always been a tune collector inside this, because who the hell is going to play Marvel for a year and you're not giving me anything? I mean, even Marvel Avengers is still a tune collector at the end of the day. And while they've only released two new characters in the time frame since they said they were going to supposed to release, you know, Black Panther, they was in the year they were supposed to release Black Panther, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, and some other character. I can't remember which other character, but all those characters were supposed to be released in that game, and now they've gotten behind because of COVID and the pandemic. But nonetheless, it was something that was supposed to be there in the game, and they're kind of going on that track right now, where we're about to get Marvel's Avengers releasing Black Panther, War for Wakanda expansion, and then in December we're supposed to get Marvel's Spider-Man added into the exclusivity for the PlayStation title, and we're getting Marvel's Zombies in October, at least from the looks of the roadmap, right? So if we want to look at what Scarlet Witch will possibly look like inside this game, we can take a look at Marvel Future Fight. Like I showed you, you know, like if I have to keep saying this, I'll keep saying it, just so that way it can be heard loud and clear. I don't feel like Marvel Future Fight should be ignored. And like I said, I give you reason to believe, or reason to at least assume, that, you know what, the idea for Marvel Future Revolution started innately inside the development of Marvel Future Fight. And you can look at the spotlights with Danny Koo and teams talking on the streams for GameSpot and so forth, to see that, you know, obviously that apple seed was freaking, you know, born there. So let's take a look at some of her skills real quick, so we can see what we could possibly expect. Number one skill, she just has a summon of some hex bolts, which is yeah, pretty decent. no complaints, right? And number two, now, so remember that this WandaVision costume here was specifically themed, so we might have to look at another one. But this was really cool because if you remember in the television show, she basically summoned the, you know, the barrier around the town, and that's basically essentially what she's doing here while she releases some Nexus energy. Then we have, you know, her Chaos Bolt attack. She summons a force field around herself. You can actually move with this attack, and she's got this Chaos Beam that's basically summoning. Now, where it gets a little bit different is she's actually summoning cars and everything like that. If you remember, she did do that. And then like in the fifth skill, this is where things get a little bit different because she's gonna summon Vision for some support and help. They have a little bit shared moment there. If you watch the television show, you remember that. And then we go into her sixth skill where she basically summons down meteors with butterflies and tulips and daisies. So it's a pretty decent thing. Remember, she's the Chaos Witch. She's the Hex Witch. So Scarlet Witch has some potential inside the game. I'm going to try to show you a uniform from her with some of the skills that wasn't exclusive to the WandaVision, so that way it doesn't seem so thematic. Let's take a look back at her uniform that was just past this one. I believe it was this one, the all new, all different one. So let's take a look at that one, since that one, you know, that one kind of looks closely like the other one, right? You know what I mean? Like this one looks mostly like the Datamined model. Then you can see that on this one, we got her for here. She had 4 chain skills. Let's take a look and preview those skills, and we can see what it is. They're not too much different from the other one. The themes of the fifth and fourth skills are omitted, but overall somewhat the same. Inside her first skill, she was basically summoning and ensnaring characters and basically, you know, shrinking them. Her third skill was still that Chaos Beam inside there, where she summoned a little bubble. Her second skill, she was basically tossing, you know, rocks at people. Fourth skill, still somewhat the same, you know, that iconic burst of energy. And then her fifth skill was a little bit different, where she was teleporting and summoning chaos gates. And the sixth skill was still the same. It wasn't any different. She's still summoning you know, meteor showers with daisies and tulips down on an enemy. But you kind of can see something that we could expect from the character in terms of, well, if they did bring Scarlet Witch to the game shortly after, what would we get? And inside there, you see what we would get. And if you see any of these things inside here, Hex Blast, the Power of Chaos, Chaos Dominion, if you see those abilities, right, and everybody's like, whoa, didn't know what we could possibly get, let's speculate on this. And just remember, I was the one that told you first, like, hey, look, Scarlet Witch is inside the game, bro, already. She's sitting inside, you know, someplace for you to see her. You know, we can love on her already. The girl's there. We've got different names for some of her skills: Reality Collapse, Hex Sphere, the Rune Defense, Hex Blast, Chaos Awaken, Reality Distortion. Oh, I would love it if Scarlet Witch came to the game. I think she'd be the perfect balancing character to Doctor Strange in that sense, especially, like, you know, like I said, monetization is going to be a big part of this game. You can tell that transactions are going to be a big part of it. Lineage showed that, you know, Marvel Concepts of Champions, Marvel Strike Force, they definitely want to, you know, think about the assets that they're developing for this. These are damn near AAA level assets that they're bringing to the game. Why would they not be trying to recoup their money in some way to monetize the game? And one of the best ways to be able to monetize those assets in those games is add in those costumes and stuff like that, and start monetizing some of these things from the movies and the television shows that get released, and doing that with characters you know are going to have up and coming, you know, movies like Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, you know. Says a lot, you know, about being able to get those characters into the game and being able to immediately start recouping some funds off their fandom, because, you know, there's going to be a lot of people who are fans of Scarlet Witch that are going to want to see that version of her in the game, that's going to want to see Doctor Strange's new uniform in the game once they see that. Think about how every time you show up at the movies, remember what I told you guys in the other videos, and I know it didn't come across as powerful because I was talking about some of of the other the negatives of the games, but the power of the branding is there, and the bond that we have towards these characters are there. You are going to want to play Scarlet Witch if you are a fan of Scarlet Witch. You are going to want to play Falcon, even if that only brings you, you know, 20 minutes or, you know, three to 4 days of joy where I go, oh, Falcon's in the game now. I'll pick this game up and log in for the next week and play Falcon and get him leveled up and geared up. And then you toss it down, but then you hear later on that, oh, you know what? They decided they were going to bring Venom and Carnage to the game. You know, I'm really looking forward to those characters. Let me pick this thing back up and play through some of these modes with Venom and Carnage after I build them up. That's going to be the allure of this game. That is going to be what's going to be there, especially as they add more content and stuff like that, more areas around the globe for you to add to and play in. Is the allure is going to be that even if you're that player that puts this game down today because you've already outpaced all of the content that was there, well, yeah, you put it down for now, but when you hear about, you know, this character getting released, you're going to probably pick it up for, you know, 4 or 5 days, and you're going to come back, and they hope they're going to capitalize on you while you come back for those 4 or 5 days. So I think that there's a longevity to the game. I think, you know, the release of new characters in the game will consistently be a source of revenue for them and a source of, you know, player jubilation. So always keep that in mind. And, you know, I'll continue to bring you guys videos for this stuff. I'm having fun with it. I thank you guys for your support and your engagement so far. It's really helped kind of tailor out some of the videos that I've made over the past couple of days because of people asking. If you want to see videos on specific things, leave a note in the comments. I'm reading them. So I will try to engage the audience as much as I can, and I really appreciate it. Until next time, guys, peace.